right, look at this. My audience has grown from 1 to 3. So this is very exciting. I triple my normal audience. Although for a channel with 10 subscribers, how my videos get 13 views or 16 views is not clear to me. Unless people watch reruns, that they really think that if you think this is so good, you have to watch it on the rerun. I suggest you readjust your priorities in life. Welcome everyone. Welcome to the Greek Disco Show. Welcome to the Kosher German Candy Show. It's this can be whatever it is. Whatever it is you're going to need it to be, because I think tonight's news is a bit black-pilling, and people are they're gonna be looking for solace. They're gonna be looking for comfort. They're gonna be looking for some sort of relief from the agony. On Twitter, like an hour or two ago, the Trump administration, or Donald Trump himself, said he's gonna order the White House to cooperate with the incoming Biden president-elect thing. So this is not looking real good. I mean, if you're a plan truster, like some people I think are plan trusters, you're fine with this. Other people like myself, who I am not a plan truster because I don't know what the fuck the plan is, and I didn't approve of the plan in advance, so I don't trust it. If you're not a plan truster, you're getting a really bad, like, sinking feeling in your stomach. And then when you see that the incoming Biden administration, I think somebody did the math already, like 6 of his 8 cabinet picks are Jews. so it's like Jews are 2% of the American population. They're 80% of Joe Biden's cabinet already, and he didn't even, and I'm sure they'll sail right through whatever confirmation hearings that they need to go through. But it's Monday. I would have streamed yesterday, but I got actually a pretty good job. I drove up to Portland, Maine yesterday, so I kind of woke up and just about finished, like, shower, like exercise, shower, breakfast, and they called me up and said, "Oh, we got a job going up to Portland, Maine." I said, "I'll do it," because at this point I'm just going to do whatever they want me to do. And I know Maine is far, so it was 320 miles up from the warehouse, and then 300 and back to where I live, 370 miles. So it was like a 670 mile day. It was really long, 650 miles back, I'm sorry. It was like a 370 mile day, which is a really fucking long day of driving. Going up was easy though, because this week is Thanksgiving week, as everyone knows. And so nobody wanted to travel on Sunday, so there was like almost no traffic going up there going up. Coming back, there was some, and then it was rain, and there was a few other things, and fucking deer, which I hate with a passion. Any of you guys want to hunt deer, shoot deer, blow them up with fucking claymore mines, poison them, run them over with your car. I don't care how you fucking just kill as many deer as you possibly can, because they absolutely terrify me, especially at night in the rain on a twisty downhill road, when I'm in a little tiny fucking car and I have no savings anymore because I got conned out of everything. And I'm now buying fucking Bitcoin on credit. So I'm like living kind of on the knife edge here. So all the deer you could possibly kill, particularly in the states that I travel through, and I realize it's a lot of states. It's like 10 or 11 states. When I'm thinking it through, like I actually travel through like a fifth of the country. That's crazy. But lucky me, I get to serve the 1%ers, the private jet people. What did I bring up to Portland, man? I brought a brakes bleeding kit for, I think it was a Cessna jet. I think it was a Cessna type jet. So that was it was a specialty tool that they wanted up. The plane was in Portland, so that's that. And Portland's very nice. I was obviously if you're on the road a lot, you'll know this. If you're on the road a lot, you always stop and use the restroom. You want to get some coffee and like a few calories and get back moving again. That's life on the road, whether you're a truck driver or anything else. And so I'm in the restroom at the FBL, the jetport in Portland, and the sink, the whatever the polycarbonate, it was like faux marble. I thought at first I thought it was like, holy crap, they actually have a marble sink top here, and then I tapped on it, it was plastic. So I'm like, even when you fly in private jets, you don't get the real marble sinks anymore. You get something else, you know what I mean? But they have really nice, the paper hand towels are really, really nice, and everything else was very nice. But yeah, Portland, nice little airport. Not just past Kenny Bunkport, which is where the Bushes used to go vacation when they were presidents, right? George H.W. used to go there. So it's a really nice area, but I didn't, by the time I got up there, it's getting dark, and I got a job to do, and I got a long way to go home. So I really don't wander around too much. But I am terrified of the police always, because I don't want to get tickets out of state. But that was my Sunday. It was a rather long Sunday. Made worse because, again, on the way back, it's dark, it got rainy, and I saw a number of deer carcasses. Not only did I see a number of deer carcasses, like all the liberal states, talk about liberal versus conservative, but all the liberal states that don't allow hunting, you have tons and tons of an amazing amount of roadkill. It's specifically deer roadkill. I'm not talking about little animals. I'm talking about like big things. So you're driving down the road in the dark, and all of a sudden it looks like people are. Now think of yourself on a darkened road at night in the rain, and it looks like giant chunks of chopped meat, just meat all over the road, and somebody hit a deer, and nobody removed it in time, and then other people hit it and hit it and hit it until it gets made into a paste, and then I guess washed down the sewer system. But when I see that, I don't think, oh, how terrible or how poorly managed the wildlife is in East Coast states or something like that. All I think is like, fuck, this is where the deer crossed the fucking road, and I don't want to hit one. So you may think that's me taking things too personally, but having actually hit a deer with my car at least once in my life, you don't want to do that. You really don't want to do that in a little car at night in the rain, still 200 miles from home. Not a whole lot of fun. But that's how I make my living, right? And so this is I have to live with decisions I have to make in real time. And so the title of tonight's stream, right, is Insolent Compliance. And I was thinking about that. I was thinking about what I was saying last time last stream. When I talked about when I was a kid, I was in a shelter or orphanage or whatever, for about a year or so. And you go along with things, and you kind of go along with the program because you're surrounded by strangers. There's no one to appeal to, and the pressure to conform is high, and you comply with the program. So, but you do it with insolence. You know what I mean? You drag your feet and you do it as slowly as you possibly can. And when you're little kids, and at least at the time and place where I was, the consequences weren't that bad. But it looks now like Joseph Biden and Kamala Harris will be the president and vice president starting in January 20th of 2021. And if they're going to come out with a flurry of fucking edicts and all sorts of crazy left-wing things, and I don't know that insolent compliance is going to work for a lot of us. I think a lot of people are going to choose that strategy, but I look at like Obama was a desperate attempt at something new and failed. And then Trump is an even more desperate attempt, because when you don't have a clear plan of guaranteed success, I'm going to go from this to this to this to this, you get desperate and you'll try anything. So you try a crazy homosexual married to a transgender black Muslim guy, that doesn't work. Then you try pompadour, comb over, reality TV star, billionaire, you try that. It's like even more desperate. And that's kind of where America is now. And I don't think that they're ready to accept what the reality is, that we're all kind of living in an open air gulag, and if you're white, you are in fucking trouble. You are in serious fucking trouble. There is a cultural narrative that you are to blame for everything, and you are an easy target and fair game, and there will be now government. The government increasingly tilts that way. You need to keep that in mind. You really fucking need to keep that in mind, and stop being overly influenced by dumb shit that heroes on social media say, particularly heroes you never met. You know what I mean? I'm not going to do this and I'm not going to do that. Yeah, well, you got to keep a roof over your head and food in your kids' bellies, and fucking, you have to survive this because no one's coming to save you. You know, that was kind of a popular thing on a lot of right-wing boards, like, no one's coming to save you, white man. Well, guess what? No one's coming to save you. And that means you have to be resourceful, and you have to do things you don't really want to do until you're in a position where you can change it. In all the times that I've been on and listened to the Jonathan Paul show, the subject of collaborators and occupiers and stuff, that hadn't really come up a whole lot. But they talked about what's his name? What would the French go? Algeria, the Algerian, the French occupation of Algeria in northern Africa, and a lot of the Algerian resistance to the colonial occupation, where sometimes they were rebels and then sometimes they were collaborators, because someone would grab you and throw you in a fucking room, and they'd beat you and they'd starve you and they'd do whatever the fuck they were going to do to you, and you thought, I got to get the fuck out of this, so I'll do whatever they say, and you become a collaborator. And then the moment you can get out from underneath that, you think, well, I want to get revenge on these motherfuckers for doing this to me. And people went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, because you don't really know who's going to win, and you don't know who's going to come out on top. And you need to do whatever you need to do to make it through the day, the week, the month, etc., etc. You know, so this is where we are, and everybody's got to look at their own situation and make their own choices. You know, and don't broadcast them if you can, and you know, just keep it to yourself and get through this. But it's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be quick. So. Judas Fly Chai wants a wrench. Can I give you a wrench? Can I just give you a wrench? Yeah, I can hide you. I don't know why I can't show you. I will get you a wrench, Judas. I don't know why I can't do it now on the stream for whatever reason. But when I look at the replay, like 8-10 hours from now, I can do it from, I don't know why I can do it from my smartphone on YouTube, but I cannot. But really, you might want to get a different avatar. So, like somebody with a hat like that, like really, you're going to be like wrenched up, dude. You look like some kind of crazy. You look like some kind of kosher sheriff from some Jewish settlement in the Old West. I don't know. Maybe a different avatar. You know what I mean? Maybe you clean up your act. I don't know. But anyway. It was a couple of things, like, you know, so what's the reality of Biden and what's coming, right? Biden-Harris and what's coming. There'll be a lot of bad things. The worst of it is going to be, of course, economic. The Great Reset is an economic reset, right? All small businesses destroyed. If you can get out and you can spend money in a small business, I don't care what the fuck kind of business it is, do it. You know what I mean? And I do that all the time. Particularly I do that with food businesses, because one, the local joints are the better joints wherever you are. But two, that's where I spend most of my money, out of outside of the, you know, everyday monthly expenses. So and everybody knows I'm like crazy Bitcoin. When I got fucked out of my Bitcoin on October 12th, I looked at the actual dates. I've actually gotten over it emotionally enough so that I can actually look at when I fucked up. It was October 12th at 5:46 p.m., a day that will live in infamy. But when I realized I got conned and I fucking desperately tried to get back into Bitcoin, by the time I got in as deep as I am now was like a month ago. So Bitcoin was 13.6 at the time. It's 18.4 now. I think that vindicates my overall worldview. I think it continues to vindicate my overall worldview. And if you think that Joe and Kamala are not going to print money like fucking crazy and throw federal dollars at everything, you are extremely naive. And this is going to drive gold, silver, real estate, bottles of whiskey, fine art, toilet paper, anything that is not US dollars is going to go higher. That includes the stock market, but you're not in the stock market and you're not an insider in the stock market. And that's a rigged game that you're going to lose. So you really need to think about how you want to get away from the fucking US dollar as much as you possibly can, because sooner or later it's going to go really, really, really bad. Really bad. They're not looking out for you. They're not going to look out for you. The Great Reset is about destroying the last of independence, the last bits of fuck you to the oligarchs, okay? And that I realize a lot of people in the so-called alt-right, like that, what's his name, the fucking, I think that used to be Melchizedek, whatever, the Godward fucking podcast. He was saying dumb shit on one of his things, and I fucking, I love to comment on his channel. And he's like, says the dumbest fucking shit ever. Like shit that would get you smacked like a fucking, get you backhanded like, I have no use for that guy. That you can afford to live in a world of gossamer dreams. You're an academic and the real world doesn't touch you. Fuck you. Like fuck you, fuck your children, fuck everyone you know, fuck everyone within your zip code. I don't want to fucking know you. I don't want to hear a word you have to say. If you ever come within arm's length of me, I'm going to knock you straight out. I'm going to knock you straight the fuck out. You're fucking vile. You're in a position to influence people for the better, and you offer them the fantasies that you can afford to live because you're a tenured professor. Fuck you. No use for that guy. A lot of things, as they always say that, you know, in times of high stress, you find out who your friends really are. Well, we're entering into times of higher and higher stress, so you're going to see who's legit and who's not legit. Particularly that kid Kyle Rittenhouse, right? He bonded out on $2 million bond. Believe it or not, we still managed to. I didn't actually send money to him. I didn't. Of all the people I ever sent money to, I didn't send money to that kid. I should have, but like I said, I recently had a kerfuffle, a financial kerfuffle, so I wasn't feeling like super donation wise. But anyway, he's out of jail and he was wearing that Black Rifle Coffee T-shirt, and everybody's like, "Yay, Black Rifle Coffee!" And if you ever go to a gun range, they sell that shit in gun ranges. There's Black Rifle coffee shops inside gun ranges, which was a niche thing because there was 3, 4, 5 years ago in the Second Amendment community was like everybody was doing gun selfies, right? So you're going to take a picture of you, and this is, as we know, this is not a real firearm. This is a fake laser firearm, a fake laser gun. You would take a picture of your concealed carry pistol in Starbucks. I don't know why this became a thing, but it became a thing, right? You go into Starbucks, you get your fucking $7 white chocolate mocha latte with extra caramel and whatever the fuck they put in those $9 coffees, right? And then you would like lift up your cover garment with your coffee, and then you would take a picture of yourself with your gun and your coffee. And Starbucks fucking lost their shit, you know? So, and the Black Rifle Coffee Company kind of capitalized on this a little bit. I started, when I go to public gun ranges, I would see Black Rifle Coffee for sale. I never bought it. I thought it was a bit gimmicky. I saw the YouTube stuff, and they were like, they did a thing on like, I don't know, we love this Afghani guy. They had some goat herder. Like, we love him more than we love white people. Fuck you, we're military veterans or something. And I was like, I don't like that. So, Kyle Rittenhouse, gets out of jail, just happens to have the t-shirt on. They fucking disavow him so hard. And the 2A community, deep, very closely dialed into this Rittenhouse thing. And the Black Rifle Coffee is fucking like, they're fucked. They're getting ratioed. The people are fucking like leaving them in droves, you know. Turns out that somebody, the COO is Jewish, this one's that one, and somebody's in the fucking CIA, and they're fucking finished, you know. They are finished. So fuck them. But the stress of events which will occur, like the Rittenhouse situation and others, the stress of that, you're gonna find out that a lot of things you thought you believed in or that you wanted to believe in are those people are not that. You know what I mean? None of them are. They will all bend the knee, and they will all choose the money over you, over your ideals, over your beliefs. They're all going to do that because at the end of the day, they don't want to be destroyed. They don't want to live. They don't want to be like me. They don't want to have to drive 670 miles in one day, you know, to deliver a brake bleeding kit for $1.25 a mile. You don't want to live that way. You're going to be made to live that way, but you don't want to live that way. And a lot of the so-called whatever the dissident right was, which is completely destroyed now, as it should have been because it was weak and fake and fucked up. This tide will touch you, and I look forward to that. I look forward to every bit of that. That's going to be for me a bit of shortened fruit, right? Which is I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but who gives a fuck? It's a German word that means to take pleasure in watching the misery of others, because again, you people deserve to be miserable because you had an opportunity to do something and you fucked it up. So, got to pay the price. Got to pay the price. I have to pay the price when I fuck up. You got to pay the price when you fuck up. Cannot help but look forward to that. And this is the kind of thing that recently a bunch of people fucking called me a hater. It's funny. I can't. It's all like I didn't have to laugh in their faces when they tell me that. Like, oh, you're a hater. Like I'm a hater. Like I say, some 1, 2, 3, 5 valid observations, right? About anything. You know, and they're like, you're a hater. It's like, wait a minute. Here it is. Here's a photo. Here's video. Here's whatever. Here's what happened. And did it happen? And they're like, oh, you're a hater. I just described what just happened yesterday in the newspaper. How does that make me, a moral reprobate and worthy of contempt because I literally described what just happened in front of your fucking eyes. But today's generation doesn't have any language to say. They don't have the language and don't have the cognitive ability to say, wow, why didn't think of that? Holy shit! Like no one can do that for whatever reason. They can't do that. They can't go, oh fuck, I was wrong. Wait a minute, hold on, let me look at that again. They just can't do it, you know. So their default is you're a hater, you're a bad person, you something, this and that and the other. Yeah, okay, you know what I mean. I don't. Most of the time, I don't particularly care, but like I said the last stream, you got to be careful who points you out in public and calls you a witch, or calls you a demon or a devil or whatever, an undesirable. And who's around you, because you could be in real physical danger, so you got to keep that in mind. Me, not so much, but a lot of people say dumb stuff and they like have no fucking idea. I think of Ziggy the Polak, like about 5 or 6 weeks ago. What the fuck did Ziggy say? Ziggy's a dumb Polak. I mean, he's not a bad guy. He's a nice enough guy, but he's a fucking boomer. And I don't know who gave him the down payment for his $1 million house in his 94% white fucking town that he lives in. But it wasn't $1 million house when he bought it, but it's worth like $800,000 now. We're in a cargo office, and this guy who used to work in Jersey, who now works at this Pennsylvania company, comes in. He's a light-skinned black dude. He's shorter than me. He's like maybe like 5'7", skinny, like a little beard and glasses and stuff. And Ziggy's just like, Ziggy's, a lot of people see me. You have to understand, a lot of people see me. It's not just on the internet. People in real life, that they know me, that I've been around a few times, and I start dancing and I start, I'm doing my fucking thing, and I'm like all crazy, and like people see me and they're like, they go start going crazy. They think, oh, I want to do what he does. And they're not as good at it as I am. And so Ziggy, like he's this black guy comes in, he's got his work, he's got his boxes and stuff that he's shipping wherever he's shipping. And Ziggy's just trying to be like, just trying to be flown, just trying to, I don't know what, he looks at this guy and goes, oh, such and such company, we don't want your type here. Just so happens like everyone on that side of the counter was black, everyone on this side of the counter was white except for that one guy. And Ziggy did not mean that in a racial fashion, he really didn't. But two people on that side of the counter took it that way. And they didn't get crazy, but they were like, oh. And I'm looking at Ziggy, I'm like, did you not fucking... And this guy's like a real light-skinned black guy, like real light-skinned. And he's like, okay, where's the joke? And Ziggy's like trying to find the joke, and I'm standing there, and I'm like, you know, Ziggy's fucking brain is overheating because he's going to try to be like me. He's going to try to bounce the fuck out of shit, right? And he's off into the weeds. And I'm looking, I'm like, fucking Ziggy, do you not get how that fucking comes off? And 100% he doesn't mean it that way. But he doesn't even hear, like he doesn't hear it. And then he couldn't fucking get out of it. And I, you know, whatever, the moment passed, but it was like a bad moment. And so you have to be aware of that. There's these sort of undercurrents or subtexts are very real, and you don't get too high on your own supply, you know. And I have that effect on not just on Ziggy the Polak. There's this Spanish guy. I think he's on steroids though. He's like a super fit Spanish guy. Again, shorter than me, but not much shorter than me. He's like maybe like 5'8", and he's got a ton of gray hair. And this was the other day. And I was saying, I don't know what the fuck I was saying. And he's like, blah, 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 blah. He says, well, you're younger than me and this and that. And I looked at him, I was like, dude, you ain't on Social Security yet because I'm 55. I'm 55. You ain't younger than me. I just got better fucking hair than you, you know? But I didn't bother correcting him. I just let him go, you know? And I don't know what the fuck he said, but he wanted to, like, I do have the effect of, I come in, I start talking shit, and everybody wants to join in, like from whatever angle they're coming at it from, they all want to, like, it's funny to see that effect, you know what I mean? It's really pretty funny because IRL, I'm very similar to the way I am online. I'm very similar. If, you know, I mean, IRL, there's a lot of stuff I can't say IRL in real life because it's just going to make my life difficult. I'm not really worried about the consequences that much. But I'm just not looking to offend people for no reason, but believe me when I tell you, I fucking push it, and I fucking shit talk, and I shit talk in real life the way I shit post online, and people see that, and they all know it's a party, and they know I'm having fun, and they're like, they want to join in, and it's fun to watch that. Ziggy, where were the spiders? I don't know. Ziggy the Polak is a big Polak who was he's a boomer, and he says, oh, my body is kept alive by the finest drugs that I could possibly buy, and he's like a foodie of sorts, but he smokes cigarettes. He still smokes a lot of cigarettes. When I first met him like 6 or 7 years ago, I was fat and he was skinny. Like I was still working off my heart attack fat and shit. And now I'm skinny and he's fat. I'm not like super skinny, but I'm way skinnier than he is. And because he wouldn't stop smoking. He drinks alcohol probably like daily. He's a big fucking Polak. His arteries are probably that fucking big. He'll never have a heart attack or a stroke or nothing like that. But he's not a bad guy, but he has that complete lack of self-awareness that a lot of boomers have, you know. They don't know that they don't know that their moment is past, and I mean like way past. But also he he has that sense of, well, I'm a good person, so, and nothing I say is said with bad intent, so you can't, there's no way you can misinterpret it, but a lot of people can misinterpret shit. And they will do it deliberately, and some will do it deliberately. Just to fuck with you. But yeah, if there's a sort of a public conversation and you decide to kind of join in and you make valid observations that are critical about one thing or another, people are going to call you a hater. And it's not hate, it's a valid observation, and they don't have any other way to understand it. Like, any criticism equals hate. Also, on my BitChute channel, which I have linked down below, I have 9 subscribers. I have almost as many subscribers on BitChute as I have here on the world's most popular video platform, YouTube. Isn't that exciting? Isn't that fucking exciting? What else? The Z-Man. The Z-Man I follow on Gab. I don't know if he's on Twitter or not, but I follow him on Gab. And of course I'm on Gab. The Z-Man has already accepted the Biden presidency. He's pretty black-pilled. And I you know what? Like I said, I'm leaning towards that as well. So you're gonna have to live with this. Of the stuff you're seeing on Twitter and stuff, of people getting arrested, like the guy that got arrested in the Costco because his son wasn't wearing a mask. So the guy's wearing a mask, but he's getting arrested by 2 cops without masks because the guy's son was not wearing a mask. All this kind of thing where you have part of what this is going to serve, whether it's deliberate or not, I don't know. By criminalizing everything, right? By criminalizing public health issues, whether it's COVID or some other thing, everybody becomes a criminal. Everybody becomes a felon. You won't be able to tell who's the good guy from the fucking bad guy, and that serves a malevolent elite in ways that's not obvious. But this is another reason not to take a principled stand in public, and sure as fuck don't take a principled stand against the police in the street. Don't ever fight the police in the street. Don't fight them. Don't fight them. Don't fight them. You can beat them in court easily, but don't ever fight them in the street. Don't ever fight them in the street. You know what I mean? If you say, well, somebody's videoing me and I don't want to look like a cuck. Listen to me. You don't need a felony in your fucking jacket, right? You don't need any felonies on your record. That's gonna follow through to whatever comes afterwards. You know what I mean? And you don't want that. It's a clean criminal record, or lack of criminal record, is of much higher value than you think. Of much higher value than you think. White people who mostly don't commit violent crimes or a whole lot of street crime don't understand that yet, but you will. You know, my Constitution and this and that. Okay, let that go. You know, I pay your taxes. Let that shit go. You know, I'm not gonna bend my knee to authority. Well, they're gonna even if you're not gonna win the street fight. First off, they're just gonna bring more and more force until you're fucking to put down possibly permanently. But once they tag you as a felon, that fucks you in a lot of different ways for a lot of different things. Be smarter. Be more strategic. Be smarter. Learn what fights you can win and what fights you can't win. You know what I mean? Comply. You can comply in an insolent fashion, right? Like I do. I go into places and people go, "Where's your mask?" I got it in my pocket. And I go, I put it on. You know what I mean? And I walk around the corner and then I pull the fucking thing off. You know what I mean? You do what you do with, like, the bare minimum you gotta fucking do. You do it, you know? And when you walk out, like, you know, you're still 20 feet from the door, 50 feet from the door, you pull the fucking thing off your fucking face and you watch everyone look at you like, "Oh, get out!" And you're already on your way out anyway, you know what I mean? So there's different ways you can fuck with them. But don't be stupid. Don't get into a conflict that you're gonna lose on principle, because being a principled loser, whether that's a Republican losing on principle or being fucking Joe Conservative in the street, getting yourself a free fucking pair of silver bracelets from the local gendarmes is just fucking dumb. You're proving nothing. You're winning nothing. The goal is to win long term, and that means don't get knocked out of the fucking box. Don't lose what little what few rights you still have. Don't do that. Blah 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 blah. What was the thing? Oh yeah, the everybody's going too fast. Like even that guy Semi-Agog, who turns out is some kind of weird patriot guy. He's a ponytail patriot who lived in fucking Cappadocia for X number of years, Turkey or whatever. And he's like, oh, he's a super Trump guy, and he's a super patriotic guy, whatever. And I think and I think this happens with Jonathan Paul too, but even me to a lesser degree. Not that I've been outside the country, but I've been outside a lot of people's normal experience. When you live a life outside of the 9 to 5, go home and watch the sitcom and talk about the latest Seinfeld episode over the water cooler. The more you live a life like that, the more, and then you meet these bizarro characters, whether it's Jonathan Bull in Africa and Kurdistan, or Semi-Agog guy in Turkey, or my experience with the street life and the underworld. There's a sort of I don't know, there's like, you kind of become charmed by these people that you're around. It isn't that you don't see them for what they are, but you can be too charmed by them. You know what I mean? You start thinking, oh, look at this crazy fucking life I have. I'm living in a way that nobody else even lives. And this is this character, and this is that character, and this one's this way, and this one's that way. And you can lose perspective on who and what they are. And I think that happens, particularly if you live like you live overseas amongst foreigners. You have a wildly different value system and different worldviews, and et cetera, et cetera. So, and then you feel like you're Semi-Agog, who's like big into all that fucking intelligence operative, blah 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 blah. He's living in a Tom Clancy novel. You know what I mean? In his head, Tom Clancy novels aren't real. You know, I read them when I was younger, and the movies, I watched the movies when Harrison Ford was in them, but they're not real, and it's tough for, I think, some of the people who have fallen sort of in love, and I mean this in a platonic sense, with the people that they met in their travels, and they don't have a terribly clear perspective, because now you're back here. Okay, I understand when in Rome, do as the Romans do. I totally get that. But now you're back here, and what worked for you and what was fun and exciting and made life seem dramatic and interesting over there on the other side of the planet, here is misunderstood and unappreciated. So, and that's, I think, a hard adjustment for a lot of people who come back from over there, wherever the fuck over there is, you know what I mean? And if you were actually in war, like there's guys that are crazy addicted to war and the fucking adrenaline rush of shooting at people and getting shot at. They can't readjust. There aren't many guys like that, but there are guys like that. So you could keep that in mind, that a lot of what happened over there was over there, and now you're in America now. So the exotic nature of your previous life has less and less applicability to America, which is the center of every fucking thing right now. And so so Semi-Agog, we're talking about that Wayfair, Wisconsin. It was a mall shooting, which supposedly was a white male shooter, and I thought, what's that guy? Semi-Agog tweeted like, "Oh, look, conveniently, something. The CIA activated one of its, what do they call it? MK Ultra, right? People to shoot up a mall or something. Some white spree shooter." And I was like, and I went on Twitter. I was like, nah, it's a typical fucking Friday night dindu thing. You know what I mean? It's probably some dude's bitch was banging some other dude, and whatever. He went to shoot up the fucking whatever Victoria's Secret store where she worked. Whatever. The whole story was a bit confused and convoluted, but some journalist and that name, some whatever, I don't know what the name was, like Lena Lichtenstein, No, it was a white male shooter. It turned out it was a white male shooter. It was three black males that were near the mall that either maybe they did an attempted robbery in the mall and ran off, and then they started shooting at police cars in Wisconsin, and then the Wisconsin police ended up catching all of them. I don't know if there was a shootout with that name, but it turned out I was right. Like, I could just hear the type of news now from recognizing the patterns. Friday night shootout, the 50 fucking 5 rounds fired, 75 rounds fired, and only 2 people injured. That it screams black male shooter, like low skill, crazy fucking ghetto rat who just happens, by some miracle, has like 2 boxes of cartridges to shoot off. But Semigog's like, oh no, it's a CIA MK Ultra psyop to distract us from, like, he goes into this long involved fucking thing. No, it's just 3 fucking dindus. 3 dindus with a grudge against whoever. And they started shooting at the police, and the police ended up grabbing them all up, and the whole story goes away. And it's, as a diagnostic tool, when you hear news these days, it's very tough because, and I've got shit wrong before. I've totally fucked it up myself. But you need to try and hold in your mind, when you hear hoofbeats, think horses, not zebras. That is to say, think of what is the most common everyday explanation, not the exotic explanation that appeals to your sense of romance. It's tough to do because obviously things that excite you, things that excite your emotions, run right towards the romantic part of your fucking mind. But you have to restrain them. You have to pull them back and go, now what's really going on here? Let's break this down to something the most boring, dull, obvious fucking thing, and that's the more likely, the Occam's razor of it. The more likely explanation than the CIA satellite, beamed the fucking laser into somebody's head and switched the MK Ultra switch or whatever the fuck, and then did whatever the fuck. That's not happening. You know what I mean? It doesn't happen. And crazy people, once shit starts getting crazy, get crazier. In New York City, in the last month, this month of November, there's already been 4 people pushed in front of subway trains. Which this used to happen maybe once or twice a year. It would happen once, and then a month later there would be a copycat who would do it again. But this month, there's like 4 fucking people got pushed in front of subway trains in the same fucking, like the boom, 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 week after week after week, Once crazy people start getting activated, they act crazy. So, when you're on the New York City subway, there's a yellow line. They tell you stand behind the yellow line. Stand behind the yellow line. Also, look behind you. Make sure there's no big black dude going like this. Because it's frequently the melanin-enriched diversity types who built this country, by the way, who seem to do the pushing onto the subway thing, pushing onto the subway tracks. So there's that. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, fuck Bob Paxton. Fuck Bob Paxton. Bob Paxton, who's a boomer, who complains that the show starts too late and then he falls asleep before the show starts anyway. So anyway, he's on Twitter now, and he's got a decent sense of humor. They're fucking around with him a little bit. But I'm trying to put him onto different mutual follows, and he's I don't know what the fuck he said. I was like, listen, shut up, boomer. If I don't drive to Portland, Maine and back in the same fucking day, you don't get your Social Security check, So and he's like I'm only 6 years away. I didn't tell him buy Bitcoin, but I'll tell you right now, buy Bitcoin. You may get your Social Security check. It just won't buy you shit. Nobody believes that, but the evidence continues to mount, and you continue to ignore it. And, everybody makes choices, man. I've made really stupid choices, and I have to live with them. And you're making choices now, whether you believe you are or you aren't, and you're going to have to live with them as well. And it sounds easy when the consequences are far away, but when the consequences come fucking right here, it's going to be very, very, very different. So you fuck Bob Paxton. Oh, yeah, by the way, also Norvin Hobbs. I don't know why I was thinking about Norvin recently, but he's on Gab, and I found him on Gab, and I was like, hey, Norvin, is everything okay? And he said he's good. So all is good with our man. Wherever he is, he's now in witness protection. So, yeah, so that's that. Norvin's in good shape, which is good to hear because everyone's going to get smashed. So, it bothered me. I debated Norvin once. I talked to him a few times. I like the guy. He and I agree on more than we disagree with. And to be honest, he seems like a pretty chill dude, all things considered. So glad to hear that he's doing well and that he, that there's no worries with him. So that's good to hear. But we are coming up on the 1 hour mark. The other thing I want to remember, I remember Jonathan Poles talking with Gerald Perry about, do you remember when we used to listen to 18-hour streams? Yeah, well, those days are gone. You know what I mean? No one has the attention span. No one has probably the attention span to go through this 53-minute stream. It's the time of luxury is over. And all of the fat's going to be rendered out. The oligarchs are going to fucking, they're taking away Thanksgiving. You can't go to Thanksgiving. You can't do this. You can't do that. You know what I mean? You can't go to school. You can't do this. You can't do that. And that's all going to be taken away from you. You wanted monarchy. You didn't want democracy. Well, you don't have it. Right? Democracy's done, right? Fake, stolen election. This is what you begged for. This is what you fucking asked for. Democracy. Fucking democracy sucks. Fuck you. Everyone's gay and it's democracy. Yeah, okay. All right. Look what you got now. Look what you got now. This is what you got. This is what you have now is what you begged for. So fucking enjoy it. What you got now is what you begged for. You ached for. You fucking got on your fucking knees and prayed for. Be careful what you wish for, kids. Because you're about to get it. Oh, but I wanted authoritarianism that was my favorite flavor of authoritarianism. Well, guess what, chumps? That's not how it works. That's not quite how it works. You get the authoritarianism that's ready to fucking pounce. And right now, that's a very left-wing, Zionistic, chosen people type of authoritarianism. And like they say, you can vote your way into communism, but you have to shoot your way out. We're not there yet. We're not even close. But this is what you asked for. Democracy sucks, people. Well, guess what? Say goodbye to your democracy because it's done. It's done. Everyone knows that fucking Joe Biden, who couldn't get 60 people to show up in one fucking place, got more votes than Barack Obama, who legit got huge crowds. Legit, he got huge crowds. Now, mind you, they're all delusional fuckwits, but whatever. The crowds were legitimately gigantic. He was a rock star. You know what I mean? So how Joe Biden, who never leaves his basement, gets more votes than him, So you know that, right? But this is what you asked for. You begged for this. So now you have it. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. This is, like I said, this is your opportunity to be resourceful and, I don't know, survive or achieve or whatever. You're living in an open air gulag right now. And if you got white skin, you're a fucking target. You are every evil fucking thing. You deserve every fucking punishment, every humiliation, every this and every that. And you're gonna have to fucking work day to day to figure out where you should fucking fight and where you should fucking run. Good luck with that. Good luck with figuring that out, because they didn't give you these books in school. They didn't teach you this shit in school. You're just gonna have to figure it out. And you know what? You really ain't that smart. So I'm gonna sit back, because I've been kind of through this earlier in my life, and mostly I'm gonna fucking laugh at you. Because the IQ curve on this is the IQ curve on this is way sharper than you think. And involves a lot of physical pain. A lot of physical pain. Anyway, we're at 57, 51. I've ranted and raved enough. By the way, tonight I did the fucking... Here's just the shitty part. One, the whole Portland thing. I'll just go back to that real quick. When I was in fucking Portland, I went to the fucking stupid... I ended up getting, I got a coffee from the Keurig machine, which I definitely needed. And but then I got some fucking, I like these peanut butter chocolate wafer things, but they're 450 calories, which is a lot of fucking calories. So I ate one of those on the way back, and then 125 miles later, I was still in Massachusetts. And I ended up, what the fuck did I bought? Some salty snacks that were 450 calories. So I overate 800 fucking calories yesterday. And then today, I said, well, I want to make this, it's not really a properly a Greek thing, but it sort of kind of is. So I made pork meatballs, Greek meatballs called keftides, with mint and parsley and stuff or whatever. But I saw a thing where they mixed that with this baked rice dish that you put rice in a casserole with some white wine and water and some paprika and a lemon, juice of one lemon, whatever, a few other things, and some vegetables, and then you put the pork. Well, I put pork meatballs on top of it, and it was actually quite good. But the whole baked rice thing, it's literally kind of like a Persian, kind of like Iranian thing. I've had that on my brain a little bit recently because the war with Iran is definitely coming. War with Iran is coming. When the Joe Biden administration is going to find out Osama bin Laden is still alive and hiding in Tehran, or I don't know what it's going to be. You know what I mean? There are Iranian fingerprints all over 9/11. I don't know what the fuck it's going to be, but we're going to war with Iran, spring 2021. So it's making this. There's a type of the Iranians do a lot of baked rice dishes that I can't remember what the fuck the name of it is, but so I was thinking about this today. Anyway, good news is I had a fucking great fucking dinner. Bad news is my apartment still smells like fucking fantastic, and I have this enormous urge to fucking eat even more fucking calories that I don't need to fucking eat. So, and I have all my windows open. So what the fuck? Anyway. Where were we at? 1 hour exactly. I'm going to bail on you guys. Thanks for showing up. 3 gigantic viewers, huge viewership. If you don't like the show, give me a thumbs down and tell me to go fuck myself in the comments. If you like the show, I don't know, share it or something like that. But if Donald Robertson shows up here and I think you sent him here, I'm going to ban both of you. And that's pretty much it. So let's call stream. What is it? How does Eki Lux say it? Eki's very smooth. I can't remember what it says. Let's call something, he says. I can't remember. I'm too drunk. Anyway, thanks for showing up, guys. I will play the outro music, which is the same really as the intro music. And Fingers crossed I don't hit a deer or something else happens. And I'll see you guys next week. Good night.